Hey guys, hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. If you get the chance, please hit that subscribe button and the bell icon down below. I would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel if you like the content. It helps my video be seen by more people allegedly, and it'll notify you if you hit the bell icon when I release new videos and when I go live. But today I wanted to take a little time and give kind of my full impressions and thoughts on the cold steel American Lawman, which I think from a cold steel full size or medium size knife, I think of all the overbuilt cold steels that I have in my collection, and I think of which one do I carry most often, which one's the most lends itself most to EDC, besides the fact that this clip is less than stellar, but that's not by any means a deal breaker. So this is the cold steel American Lawman, which is a knife that came into my collection about 1.5 years ago. I went through a pretty big cold steel phase, I would say, where I own, and I still in my collection have, as you guys know, the 4MAX, the 8010, which I did a recent review on, the 8015, which I'll do a full overview on, the American Lawman. I had the Code 4. I gifted it. I'm trying to think if I've had others, but the one that's really stuck out to me that I, like I say, carry the most is this blacked out American Lawman. And I think I was first made aware of this knife by Slicey Dicey early in my or maybe, yeah, American Lawman, that weird, yeah, I think it was Slicey Dicey that made me first aware of the American Lawman. It was never something that was what I considered a sexy knife. It was never something that I think just reached out and grabbed me. It was the things that I learned about it, you know, hearing about people like Nick Shabazz's impressions, things I've heard about people. I'm not a backlot guy. I'm more of a fidget knife guy, but in this case, this is not really a fidget knife, even though, just like with the 8010, if you keep your finger up towards the front of this choil and you hit that button on the backlock, it will drop shut. But the American Lawman, I am glad that I was influenced to check it out, because until you actually get this knife, which is the thumb stud actuated triad lock, which is Cold Steel's proprietary Andrew Demko locking system, has the same locking system as the 8010, which a lot of people will argue is the strongest locking system in the game. I don't know that because I don't stress test blades. I don't stress test or hard use my knives to the extreme to where I'd put things under stress of failure. But this is a G10 handle. It's not FRN. It does have a nice S35VN blade, and it does have Cold Steel's patented triad lock, which again, it's a back lock, but it has, you guys can Google triad lock and you can learn how the little tang actually falls down into a notch in the blade to give it additional stability. But what made this knife stick out in my mind and makes it stick out from an EDC knife is the actual control I have of the knife. So again, if I want to grip back on the knife with my medium to large size hand, and we'll do some comparisons and measurements here shortly, but I've got plenty of room to do that. Again, it's pretty clean, short of some light jimping right here. I'm not talking about billboarding. We'll get to that in a second. I'm talking just about the way it feels in the hand. But whether I'm choked back like this, it's, you know, it's a fine knife for doing cuts. But where I think it really shines and where it fits me is right here with this forward choil. So the forward choil, I use my middle finger, it locks right in, and it just gives me a great grip. So let's see, I've not sharpened or stropped this knife in quite a while. Let's break out some of the poo-poo digest. One thing I will say about all the cold steels that have come into my collection, including this one, they've come from the factory, and I think they're made in Taiwan. I'm not 100% sure of that. I will put everything I can find out about it in the description. But for a thicker blade, hard use triad lock knife, it is very, very slicey. Again, most of my cutting tasks are Amazon boxes, envelopes, paper. You know, I might do some whittling or something like that if I'm out in the woods, but that's going to be the exception, not the rule, right? I mean, I might cut some paracord, cut this, that, or the other. But yeah, the American Lawman, I know, should I need to, should I be at the campsite and should I need to really break down some kindling, or should I need to do, you know, not that I ever would, but skin some kind of animal or something, this knife, I think would pretty much fit any user's task. It is a little bit, I wouldn't say premium knife, but it's a little bit more costly knife. It's over $100. I want to say this knife comes in around $160, $170. Could be more than that now. It's been a long time since I've purchased this knife. When I got it off of, I can't remember if I got it from Midway or if I got it from Smoky Mountain Knife Works. But when I got it, it was on sale. It was right around $160. It was right around the time that Cold Steel was selling. It does have a reversible pocket clip. It does, again, let's... Yeah, even though the pocket clip is small and it's tight, it goes in and out of pocket well. It is going to be on the tighter side of retention, which I would think with a knife like this, that's kind of what you're going to want. And I am wearing jeans today, so I have thicker hems on them. But the Cold Steel American Lawman, for my opinion, which I love my 80-20, or excuse me, my 80-20.5s, my Demcos, which I would put ahead of this in the EDC realm. But when we're talking about cold steels, I love my 80-10. I love my 80-15. I'm really looking forward to the full review on it. I love my 4Max, even though it's more of a novelty. But the American Lawman fits the bill for a medium-sized, large to medium-sized, 3.5-inch blade. I think it's a 4.5-inch handle. We'll get some dimensions here shortly. But just a really good worker that's up for the task with quality materials. I think that the American Lawman fits that bill. So let's do a couple of quick size comparisons and put it up next to its big brother, the Cold Steel 4Max, which is going to be much smaller than the 4Max. Let's compare it to the Civivi Baby Banter, and it's going to be much bigger than the Civivi Baby Banter. So let's see how it compares to the Benchmade Bug Out. It's going to be smaller than the Benchmade Bug Out. And let's look at it next to a Spyderco Paramilitary 2, of which it's going to be right around the same size, just a little bit smaller than the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. I'd give it about a 1/4 inch less than the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. That kind of gives you an idea of what you're looking at with width and length, which is a little bit shorter than the Para 2. But let's get some real quick dimensions. And the blade cutting edge is going to be right at 3 1/4. The blade's going to come in right over 3 1/4. The handle's going to come in at 4 3/4. To that forward choil, you're going to be at 4 3/4 to right here, to right here. Let's break out Grateful Panic's calipers and see what kind of thickness we're working with here. Because it is the thinnest, one of the thinnest cold steels I've got. So 0.40 in handle thickness. Blade stock's 0.13. Pretty thin behind the edge. I won't bore y'all by trying to get that measurement. You know how I roll with that. But yeah, the Cold Steel American Lawman. A knife that I can definitely say will stay in my collection. It's a permanent Cold Steel member. I really enjoy it. I did kind of buy into the hype where I'd heard about it because it's not a knife that I carry that often. I've got Wicked Wax on this rag, which is actually a good thing because it's going to coat that blade. But it might make it look smutsy in the camera. But that's just the nature of what that is. But anyways, yeah, the Cold Steel American Lawman, I think is a great EDC knife, but in full transparency, do I carry it often? Not very. I do carry it when I go out in the woods, when I go camping, when I go to LJ. It's more of a hard use knife. So I've got, again, because I have a lot of other knives, it's easy for me to pick up something else and carry something else on the daily. But can I recommend this knife for someone who's looking for a knife that's very capable, that has probably one of the strongest locks, that's light? I'm going to guess this knife comes in under 5 ounces. I'm going to guess it's around 4.5 ounces, and I'll put the specs in the description when I actually upload this video. But it's thin. We saw that it was under 1/2 inch thick. Just a great EDC knife. And I would carry it more if it was a knife that, or if I was working in a harder type, construction, or doing something that I was using my hands more. If I was capable of that, I would, definitely grab this knife. And I can definitely recommend it to anybody here who's looking for that kind of not overbuilt, but that heavier, full size to medium size knife that will get the job done, that has a very strong locking mechanism, that's not going to leave them high and dry when they're doing hard work. And every other review that I've seen on this knife, when I was being led into purchasing this knife, kind of echoed the same sentiments. And I've had it now long enough to say objectively, I approve. I like the Cold Steel American Lawman, and I love the 8010 and the 8015, which are two other Cold Steels that I still have in my collection. And of course, the trusty old Big 4 Max. But guys, I appreciate you taking a look at the video. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope it opened, if you're interested in the Cold Steel 4 Max or Cold Steel American Lawman, it gave you a little bit of insight that you didn't have before. If you're so inclined, like or dislike the video. Please subscribe below if you get a chance. But most importantly, please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart, guys. Choose debate over hate. Till we meet again, peace.